Hi, today we are going to discuss about the Bohr effect. It is the effect that helps to explain the oxygen transportation, the mechanism of oxygen transportation by hemoglobin. So, according to Bohr effect, the binding power of hemoglobin with oxygen decreases with decrease in pH. That means the binding power of hemoglobin with oxygen will be very low at low pH or acidic pH. This property of hemoglobin was first described in 1904 by Danish physiologist Christian Bohr, is the person, and he is father of Niels Bohr. He says that on increasing the concentration of protons or carbon dioxide, which are acidic substances, so on increasing the acidity, what will happen? It will reduce the oxygen affinity of hemoglobin. The hemoglobin will not be able to take up oxygen in acidic conditions. This effect facilitates the oxygen transport from lungs to tissues. So we know that the red blood cells contain hemoglobin. It takes up oxygen from lungs and it will be converted into oxyhemoglobin, and it will carry it to the tissue, and in the tissues the oxygen will be released and it will be converted into deoxyhemoglobin. And the mechanism is that in tissues, we know that cellular respirations are taking place, so a lot of carbon dioxide is being produced, so it will combine with water and it will be converted into carbonic acid, and it will split in as H plus and HCO3 minus ions, that is protons and bicarbonate ions. And this formation of bicarbonate and protons causes the pH of the tissues to decrease. So the H plus ion will decrease the pH or make the tissues acidic. So when an oxyhemoglobin, that means the hemoglobin that contains oxygen, reaches a tissue, what happens? It will release oxygen to the tissues, because in the acidic condition hemoglobin cannot hemoglobin cannot hold the oxygen anymore. Then it will release oxygen to the tissues. But the deoxyhemoglobin, what it will do is, it takes up protons from the tissues. After releasing the oxygen to the tissues, it will take up protons, and the counter ion, it will take up proton, and the counter ion, bicarbonate ion, also will accompany the hemoglobin back to the lungs. Okay, and in the lungs, where the oxygen concentration is very high, we know that oxygen concentration is very high in the lungs, so the hemoglobin will release the proton there and will take up the oxygen again, and this released proton will combine with the bicarbonate ion and it will form carbon dioxide and water, and the carbon dioxide will be exhaled. So this is a cycle. Hemoglobin from lungs, there is plenty of oxygen, so it will take up oxygen and it will be converted into oxyhemoglobin, and it will carry it to the tissues. Okay, and in the tissues there is a lot of H plus ions, so the it is in acidic pH, or the pH is very low. So in that condition the hemoglobin will release oxygen, and what it will do, it will take up H plus ions, so it will be a protonated hemoglobin will be formed. This bicarbonate ion also will accompany this protonated hemoglobin back to the lungs, and in the lungs again the oxygen concentration is very high, so it will take up oxygen and release H plus ion, and this H plus ion will react with the bicarbonate ion that has accompanied the protonated hemoglobin, and will be converted into carbon dioxide, which can be exhaled. So this is how the hemoglobin transport oxygen from lungs to tissues. So with a Bohr effect, we can explain the oxygen dissociation curve. It is a graph showing the percentage saturation of hemoglobin at various partial pressures of oxygen. So this is a graph. This is oxygen dissociation graph, and here we plot the percentage saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen. So higher this one means the hemoglobin is saturated, fully saturated with oxygen. So this represents the percentage saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen, and this axis represents the partial pressure of oxygen. So in this graph we can see an S-shaped or a sigmoid shaped graph, and here at different pH we'll get different graph, different sigmoid shaped graphs. At a higher pH we can see that the percentage saturation is very fast, or it can take place at a faster rate at a higher pH, whereas at a lower pH the percentage saturation of hemoglobin is low compared to the other one. So this is in accordance with the Bohr effect. That means the high partial pressures of oxygen, usually in lungs, the hemoglobin binds to oxygen for to form oxyhemoglobin. At low partial pressures of oxygen in tissues, oxyhemoglobin releases oxygen to form hemoglobin or deoxyhemoglobin. Here we can see that in the lungs there is no carbon dioxide, there is no acidic condition, so it is very easy for the hemoglobin to hold the oxygen. But when it comes to the tissues, there will be a lot of carbon dioxide or acidic materials in the tissues due to cellular, as a byproduct of cellular respiration. So what will happen, it will release the oxygen binding capacity will be very low, and it start releasing oxygen. And there is another reason for the sigmoid shape for the oxygen dissociation curve, and that's the cooperative binding or cooperativity effect. It's a phenomena where the addition of oxygen to one heme group facilitates its addition to the other heme groups, and that particular phenomena is known as cooperative binding or cooperative effect. This is responsible for the sigmoid shape or the S shape. We know that there is an S shape like this. So the cooperative binding effect is responsible for that shape for oxygen dissociation curve. Now the cooperative binding is actually the characteristics of a hemoglobin to have a greater ability to bind oxygen after a subunit has bound oxygen. We know that in hemoglobin there are 4 heme groups in which each heme group can take up an oxygen molecule. So when the first heme group take up an oxygen, it is very difficult for the first heme group to take up oxygen, but once the first heme group take up the oxygen atom, there will be some conformational changes happening in the other heme groups, and we can see that in the next step, that is when oxygen approaches the next heme group, the second heme group, the binding site will be a little bit more feasible to take up the oxygen molecule. That means there is an increase in the width of the binding site, so that the oxygen can easily come and attack the central ion. After the second heme group take up the oxygen molecule, it is again very easy for the third one to take up the oxygen, because again some conformational changes will happen, and the oxygen binding site will be much more open. Then again, when the 3 heme groups took up oxygen molecule, then it will be very easy for the 4th one to take up oxygen. So this mechanism or this property phenomena is known as cooperative effect. Yeah, I will show you a video. See, these are the 4 heme groups. When first oxygen atom enters into the first heme group, there will be some conformational changes, and we can see the it will increase the affinity for the next oxygen molecule to get attached to the ion, next heme group. Again, some conformational changes will take place and will be much more easier for the 3rd one to take up. Then again, it will be very easier for the 4th one to take up the oxygen molecule, and that's what we call as cooperativity effect. Now, this is responsible for this kind of shape for the oxygen dissociation curve, and it's because we know that at low partial pressures of oxygen, it is very difficult for the first heme group to take up the oxygen, so it will rise up. The percentage saturation of hemoglobin will rise up very slowly, but once the all the heme groups takes up the first oxygen molecule, it will be very easy for the 2nd one and 3rd one to take up the oxygen. So there will be a steep increase in the curve, and finally it will be when it takes up the 3rd one, it will be very easy to take up the 4th one, and it will be almost like a saturated thing. So again, there won't be a very large steep increase, so almost everyone will be in a saturated form. That's how this shape comes, the sigmoid shape comes. So that's all about the cooperativity effect and the Bohr effect and the oxygen dissociation curve. And one more thing, in the hemoglobin can exist in 2 different states. That one is in relaxed state and other one is in the tensed state. In the relaxed state, it will have high affinity for oxygen. It can hold up all the oxygen molecules, whereas in the tensed state, it has low affinity for oxygen and it will liberate the oxygen molecules. So that's how the oxygen transportation happens with the help of hemoglobin. Thank you.